first of all, as you know, if you like the channel, please hit the like button, hit the notifications, spread the word. If you want to contribute, down below I have the Cash App, the Buy Me a Coffee, and the PayPal. And let's get right into it. We're going to start out with some of the current events that are going on right now. And I scour the internet and I look on my Telegram, because Telegram is a good spot for me. It's a lot of information that you can't get from the mainstream media and things that, the reason why I don't like the mainstream media is that they omit information. They like to tailor the information to a certain type of slant. And you never get the story, you get a story, as I said before. And what's going on right now is this, Pam Bondi went in front of Congress to talk with Congress to testify. And you had these women who are Epstein, they call them Epstein survivors, but they're basically women who were just there to get their 15 minutes of fame. And these women were at the hearing and they were standing behind Pam Bondi as she was testifying. And afterwards, of course, you had people like CNN, because CNN understands that there are more Democrats and politicians and others who were involved with Epstein. Epstein cast a very big net. And watching some of the videos of Epstein, he's a pretty impressionable guy. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you know, evil is evil and evil can never be impressive, or evil can never, you know, be anything but evil. No. Just like, it's like yin and yang. You got good things and bad people, and you got bad things and good people. And with Epstein, he couldn't have had women. He couldn't have had an island. He couldn't have been so entangled in politics and finances if he was a guy, an average guy. Epstein was not an average man. He was a man of means. He was a man of more than average intelligence. He was a man that was able to navigate the system, whether it was because he was Jewish, whether he was embedded with the Mossad, and, you know, had good connections. And there's nothing wrong with having good connections. You know, a lot of people need good connections. But the simple fact of the matter is, this man had connections and he had access to women. Whether you like the way he got his connections, that's immaterial. The simple fact of the matter is, one second, he had those connections. And the fact that he was able to get women and to do all the things that he was able to do, an average man isn't capable of doing those things. So you have to look at things objectively instead of trying to label things and say, hey, you know what? Hey, I may not agree with what this guy did. Some people do agree with what the guy did. But the simple fact of the matter is, he was able to do what he did because of who he was. And instead of trying to say, oh, the guy was evil, he was terrible, it's like, no, just look at it objectively. How was he able to do what he was able to do? But you have these people that are labeling themselves as survivors. And I look at it objectively. You have these women who are over the hill. They're over 35. If you look at these women, they're used up, they're past their prime. They need to have some type of they need purpose in their life. I'm not sure if they are married or not, but if you have time to sit there and stand in a courtroom talking about, I'm a survivor, you're probably single. And you have these women standing in Congress behind Pam Bondi while she's testifying, standing up, and they were upset, as they told CNN, is because they weren't acknowledged. They weren't recognized. You've had your 15 minutes of fame. you were able to go out and to say that, hey, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Which I'm just going to take a different approach. I say, if you lived your hot girl summer in your season, now you're washed up. Now no one wants you. Now you're out here saying, hey, I'm a victim. What is the purpose of saying you're a victim or a survivor? A survivor. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? The man is not here. So now you're trying to do what? You can't reclaim your time because you're over the hill. You can't sue him, but you probably could sue as a state. What is your point? You were on the island. You were hobnobbing with people. And as you know, now you're victimizing all the men that are on that island. I don't see any women being called out in this thing. I don't see women being called out because there were women on that island as well who were celebrities. Naming one, Oprah, Jada Pinkett Smith. Any woman with a hyphenated name, you need to avoid. Any woman that wants to hyphenate her name is trash, and she needs to be avoided. And you have these women getting more attention, saying that, hey, I was on that island. I'm a victim. I'm a survivor. It's sad that Pam Bondi didn't acknowledge us and we were sitting behind her, because in actuality, people don't want to be truthful, but in all actuality, they understand that you were on that island because you wanted to be. You wanted to be on that island because you wanted to be. You weren't on that island because someone held you against your will. And if someone was holding against your will, you had lots of people on that island that you could pass notes to, convey your message to, and try to get away. You were on that island and you enjoyed your time. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and I don't do the Me Too, believe all women. I don't play that game. I look at everyone as an individual. I look at everyone as a single entity, and I'm looking at you and saying, are you telling me the truth? And I say no. My radar says no. Because as I said before, you didn't pass any notes. You weren't trying to escape. You didn't put up a fight. You weren't fussing. You weren't clinging on to someone's leg as they were getting on the plane or on their boat to get away from the island. You just didn't. So all of a sudden now you want to jump in front of a camera and say, I'm a victim. But you've used your youth. You've partied. You've had your season. Now you want to play victim. I'm sorry. Women get to have it both ways all the time. They live life on easy mode. They're able to hobnob with men way out of their league. Way out of their league. And some of these women, some of them, I guess if they were younger, they probably were very, very attractive. They're not ugly women. But when you've used up your capital, because women are born, by the time they hit 18, they're born with $1 million. And they just squander it. You have your looks, you have your figure, and men are attracted to that. From 18 to 25, men are attracted to that. I know older women don't like hearing that, because old women are just bitter and they hate the fact that, hey, you know what? I'm over the hill. My prospects are low. I really can't give anything to a man because I can't give him a child. I can't give him offspring. I can't extend his existence. So what else am I going to do for this man? I can be his roommate. That's basically all a woman over 35 can be, is your roommate. She can't give you anything else but other than that, unless she's good at organization. If I need organization, she could probably help me organize and take care of tasks. But other than that, I can outsource that. And as these women here are out here saying they're frustrated at Pam Bondi at the hearing, who cares what you think? You're done. Disappear. You did what you did. And now all of a sudden you're trying to say, because women always omit the facts. If they are guilty of something, they will never admit it because women are irresponsible. And I'm sorry to have to say that. Women are irresponsible. They will never claim responsibility for their behavior or the outcomes of situations. They just don't. If you find a woman that is able to admit wrongdoing, you have met a unicorn. Save her. Stay with that woman because that is a rare thing. That is an anomaly. Hold on to that woman. That's the best advice I can. A woman that's able to admit her faults and move forward with you is the best woman. You know, if your woman said, hey, you know what? I did something wrong. I regret it. I want to come back to you. I will never do it again. And, you know, I see the errors of my ways. Keep that woman. But a woman that continues to do what she does and wants to blame you for everything and will go out and do something and try to justify her bad behavior on you, she's trash. Leave that woman alone because she's not a woman. She's something else. But leave that thing alone because she is a disaster and she will bring nothing but disaster to your world. But these women are out here saying that Pam Bondi didn't acknowledge them. They were saying that, oh my gosh, she did a terrible job because she didn't give us our time. Look, man, now you're becoming activists. You're not victims. You're saying we want to be relevant. Give us our relevancy. You know, acknowledge us. Talk about us so we can get on cameras and tell you our stories. And trust me, the stories are going to get worse and worse and worse because that's what they do. They like the stories will start to grow from what it actually was into something sensational so people can say, you should write a book. Come on my show and I'll pay you for your time. You know, they're monetizing themselves. These people aren't real. They're just trying to be relevant. But right now I'm giving them too much time as well. So enough of that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Gallup. Gallup says they will no longer track presidential approval ratings after nearly 90 years. Wow, that's a long time of going over approval ratings. But those polls and approval ratings are actually fake anyway, because it depends on who you are talking to, which area of the country, what city you're in, which city you're in, because all those things are relevant. And to sit here and to tell someone you can take a sample, and most people, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're going to poll people that tend to think the way you do. So none of these polls can be trusted, and I'm just going to be absolutely honest because I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't claim to be a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm a conservative, and being a conservative makes you a unicorn as well in America, which is sad that you're a unicorn in your own country that was built on conservatism. Gallup will soon no longer measure presidential approval, the analytics confirmed on February the 11th. Founded by George Gallup in 1935, the Washington, D.C. based management company began tracking the president's job performance 88 years ago. Starting in 2026, the firm told USA Today, Gallup will no longer publish favorable ratings of political figures, favorability ratings of political figures. A decision, it said, reflects an evolution on how Gallup focuses its public research and thought leadership. A statistician and founder of the American Institute of Public Opinion, Gallup first sent pollsters across the United States during the Depression era to ask people whether they approved or disapproved of how the nation's commander-in-chief was handling his job. Interesting. Since its inception, journalists have used polls to disseminate that information to the public. There's no such thing as journalists. You have people who work for organizations that do the bidding of that organization. I have the only unbiased journalist I can tell you about is probably John Solomon, and I trust what he says because he's objective. He doesn't put a slant on it. He just gives you the information. when it came down to the Russia collusion hoax, it was John Solomon that was all out in front of it. When he talked about the election, John Solomon was all over it. And he was truthful and he was correct. All the other journalists were saying other things, so I trust him. And he's on my Telegram, so I follow him. The change is part of a broader ongoing effort to align all of Gallup's public work with its mission, the company wrote in an email. For nearly a century, Gallup's U.S. polling has provided rigorous, independent insight into the American people, their perspectives, values, and lives. Leadership ratings have been part of Gallup's history. At the same time, the context around these measures has changed. Of course, because you can't get a good sense of what people want or think, because you just can't go around and sample everyone. You can't sample everyone. And depending on who you pull, you can say at work, you can go to work. Everyone has a difference of opinion. Depending on where you are, you're going to get some people who lean liberal. You're going to get some people who lean Republican. Not very many conservatives in this country that lean Republican. And you have to distinguish between the two. Anyone can be a Republican. Very few people are conservative. You're not going to get a good sample of the people. So you go out and say a poll. Well, it depends on who you spoke to. What day, depending on how knowledgeable they are. So these polls are bogus because there are a lot of factors that don't come into play. How knowledgeable of the facts is this person? Is this person keep up with current events? No. Are they knowledgeable of the facts? No. Does this person even pay attention to social issues? No. So why are you talking to them? You have people, I run into people all the time that have very strong views on things that have no knowledge. You're like, well, why are you voting? And the founders of this country did not want all people to vote, because if you don't have a stake in the country as a landowner, a person with wealth, or a person with education, why are you voting? You don't keep up with current events, so why are you voting? Most of the people that vote are either ill-informed or they're single-issue voters. And women shouldn't vote at all. We should repeal the 19th Amendment, because women vote on emotion. And they vote on trivial issues that have nothing to do with the country. And I don't think anyone who doesn't have to sign up for service should have the ability to vote. And that's just my take on it. There are too many factors with women that disqualify them from voting in this country. Aside from Gallup and their getting out of the polling business of the president, the House passed voter ID, which is a big win for President Trump and for the country, because we should know who's voting in our elections. And it's got to go to the Senate, and hopefully the Senate has a backbone to go ahead and pass it, and hopefully we get free and fair elections. And the Democrats love to use black people as their whipping boys and their tools of destruction to say that, oh, well, you can't get voter ID because black people don't have IDs. Black people aren't capable of getting IDs. Black people are incompetent. And black people don't see this as insulting. They don't see this as scapegoating. I'm staying away from the racist word, because that's not racism. That's just ignorance, willful ignorance on the part of Democrats to always use black people as being stupid. And black people who are Democrats are too stupid to know that they're being insulted. So we have to say to black people, hey, you know what? You're being insulted, idiot. You should maybe tell those Democrats to pound sand. But they don't, and they won't. And until then, hopefully if the Senate does its job, we'll have some semblance of freedom and confidence in our elections. But right now, until it gets done, I have no confidence in any election, because Democrats thrive on cheating. They thrive on trying to redistrict. They thrive on letting illegals vote. They thrive on stuffing ballot boxes and using the mailing system. They love all the avenues of letting people cheat, or they are cheating themselves. You know, you should look at this thing as like, who's trying to get free elections, free and fair elections? It's the Republicans. So the Republicans aren't the ones, you know, advocating for cheating. So maybe the Republicans are right on this thing. People said, oh, voter ID is racist. You should look at those people and say, what the hell do you mean it's racist? You got to use ID to get on a plane. You got to use ID, you know, to cash a check. You got to use ID to get an apartment or to buy a house or anything else you got. But electing your officials that run this country, you're saying there's no need for ID for that? That's more important and has a bigger effect in your life than anything else. And you're telling us, oh, no, you don't need ID for that. No, not at all. That's racist, because black people are stupid. They never use it for poor whites. They only use it for poor blacks. And poor blacks are too stupid because they don't think. Anyway, I was talking to a young man the other day in the hospital, and he was talking about he was trying to date this girl, and he said that, you know, they broke up and he was trying to get back with her. I said, well, you know, what's the problem? He says, well, she has 2 kids. I said, ding, 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 red flag. And I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 20. I said, well, how old is she? He's like, she's 25. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Another red flag. Dude, you're already 2 strikes in. She's a woman with baggage. She's older than you, which means she doesn't like authority. She wants someone to boss around and be mama to. And you are 20. You work in the kitchen. You're pushing a food cart around. You don't have any money. And I told him this specifically. I'm like, you don't have any money, man. How the heck are you going to talk to a woman and you don't have any money? I said, tell you what, I'm just going to be honest with this. Unless you are making $70,000, you shouldn't talk to a woman. And unless you're out there right now trying to get some skills in school, a trade, going out on your own to make your own reality with a business of your own of some sort, whether it's trading, whether it's selling something, you know, men need to get themselves into law, medicine, tech, or sales. That's where men should be. Men need to get themselves established so they can market themselves, build their wealth, take care of themselves. Then they can say, okay, now I'm ready for a woman. And when you become ready for a woman, then you can say, hey, I will let you in my circle because I think you are worthy of my time. Because taking on a woman is a burden. And most men don't understand these things because they're not raised by their fathers. They're raised by women. And a woman is only going to tell a man how to pedestalize other women. This is why men become victims to women, because women only teach you how to be subjugated by other women. You should never take the advice of a woman. And if you want to do it biblically, God told Adam, because you listen to this woman, your punishment is this. Men should never take advice from women because they live life on easy mode. They don't see the world in the same fashion or from the same perspective as a man. A man is judged on what he produces. A woman is judged on her behavior. Are you promiscuous? Then you don't qualify. Are you a good mother? No, then you don't qualify. Are you fertile? No, then you don't qualify. Are you feminine? No, then you don't qualify. There are things that disqualify women from being a wife or a mother. But society isn't teaching women that anymore. Society is teaching women to be men. So women are out here working hard to become the men that they want. And this is why it's so difficult to talk to women, because they talk to you in a masculine form. They're not talking to you as, hey, I can enhance your reality. Hey, let me be the person that you come home to bring you peace. No, women are like, I work too. I don't want to do this stuff. I don't want to clean up. I don't want to take care of these children. I work as hard as you. You should share this with me. Which basically makes her a roommate. Because men and women aren't the same. They're not equals. It's not a partnership. It's not a power couple. This is why you get your money up. As I told this young man, do not talk to a woman unless you get your money up. And then I told him, once you get your money up, you will start to see women differently. You won't settle for the ghetto queens, because you'll look at her and say, she's going to hurt my brand. She's going to bring chaos to my world if I let her in. If I let her into my world, she is going to ruin everything I've built. Because as a woman sees a man, she sees him climbing, she sees him as successful, she wants to enter his world. And it's a privilege to come into his world. It's not a right. Just because you look nice doesn't mean you're a good woman. Just because you do a few things doesn't mean you're a good woman. I had that experience. You know, you had a woman, and she put on this facade of being good. You know, it was yes, sir, no, sir. I'm like, wow, this woman is humble. Man, it's like, wow, she's submissive. But that all went out the window. And, you know, I understood the past, and I overlooked it, because men will sometimes overlook the past of a woman if she's presenting herself in a certain way. So you look at this woman, you say, okay, hey, you know what? You know, this woman is submissive. She's able to, you know, improve my world. She makes my world feel good. And peace and comfort is what a man seeks. And when those things are being met for a man, he says, I want that woman to be with me. He will accept her. And as I was talking to some, you know, let me digress a little bit. I was talking to a woman about being married. She says, well, I don't want to get married because until I get enough money and I can have my own. I said, well, you get with the right man who's successful or able to take care of you. He's going to give you everything you need, because that's the purpose of a man, is to take care of you. Now, if you are out here saying you need to take care of yourself, he's going to say, well, you don't need me, so why would I need you? You'd basically disqualify yourself. And a lot of women wonder why they're single, because if you give off this independent vibe, it turns a man off. He says, well, shoot, if you don't need any help and you are trying to take over my position, then why do I need you? Because you are a headache. You're going to butt heads with me. I need to find someone who will appreciate me, because if you already say I do for myself, you're not going to appreciate the works of that man. So he should go about his own way, because you are a problem. And many women don't see themselves as problems because women aren't able to properly look at themselves objectively and say, hey, you know what? I come off as a little abrasive. Or, hey, you know what? I come off as a little disrespectful. Hey, you know what? I talk like I'm a woman of the street. I talk about men too much in front of my man. Or I sit here and brag about men flirting with me in front of my man, which is a total turnoff, because if you're bragging about other men, if you're giving time to other men, the only thing that man thinks about you is that you are a woman of the street. And I can't respect you as being a mate. I can only put you, because men compartmentalize women, and they silently curve women. They say, well, since you're loose and anyone can get you, well, okay, I'll accept you as you are, and you are put in the recreation only category. And that's where you will sit, and he won't tell you that. And as long as a man has access to your body, he will use it. And women, they get fooled by thinking, oh, he wants to sleep with me. Oh, he's so attracted to me. Oh, he likes me. Oh, he loves me. It's not love, honey. It's like if I could go to the store and walk in and just grab anything I want and walk out, and they don't ask me to pay, oh, I'm going every day. I'm going to get the best I can out of it. And they're going to use you as much as you can, as they can, because you're giving them access without any commitment. He's not putting a ring on your finger. So what do you think you're getting? You're getting the bare minimum, which is carnal. He's going to have sex with, he's going to do all types of nasty things with you, but he's not going to give you a commitment. And most times a guy won't even take you out. He'll make up excuses for, I'm busy today. Maybe next week. I'll try to make some time. I got to go in. Oh, my cousin needs some help. I got to go over there and help him out. Oh, my friend called me. Oh, I wanted to take you out, but they'll make all types of excuses because they really aren't into you. They just want access to your body. And most women, after they get used up, and I know a woman who was used up for several years until she got the hint that you're only good for one thing, honey. And even then, she was trying to go back. And women think they're winning because some guy wants to have sex with them. Honey, that is your only commodity. You're supposed to use it sparingly. You're supposed to give it to the man that appreciates you, a man who wants to give his life for you and spend his life with you. And if you're not doing that, then you're a fool. And women at the end will say, all men are bad. No, it's just the man that you chose. You chose wrong, honey. And I'm sure, as Kevin Samuel says, you met your husband. You just ran off. And now you're bitter at all men, but you squandered the man that actually loved you and wanted to be good to you. And you thought you were better than that man. And you ran off and gave yourself to the community. And you became community property. And now you're mad at the world instead of being mad at yourself, because women mostly are irresponsible. And you give them power to control themselves, and they will destroy themselves. I digress. I was talking to this young man, and he came back a week later. I'll say, hey, man, how's it going? I said, have you looked into those programs? Because I told him, I said, there's an engineering program over here. You should look into it. Oh, man, I'm still working on it. I'm working on it, man. I'm going to get into it, though. I'm going to get into it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Well, I'm trying to talk to that girl again, and we're talking again. I said, you went back to that woman, the same woman with the kids, the same woman who is older than you. I said, man, you're putting yourself into a bind, and you're going to regret it. But you know what? You can't preach to people. You can only tell people. They can either be smart enough to understand that, hey, you know what? This guy has some insight, and he's looking out for me. Or they're going to go out and do their own thing and bump their head. Like my father used to say, I'm going to tell you what to do. You can bump your head, or you can listen to me and avoid the problems. And most people want to get into the problems because they think they're right. They think they're smarter than they actually are. So they're going to go out there and bump their head, and then they're going to, in the back of their mind, say, you know what? I should have listened to that guy. But they don't. So they suffer. And I say, suffer and die, and get what you ask for. And you're always going to get what you ask for. And when you get what you ask for, you can't complain. And most men that you run into, especially black men, are complaining about society. They're complaining about, oh, the system was rigged against me. Oh, I'm black, and they don't want to see the black man, come up because the black man is the original man, and the black man is a threat to the white man. Well, you have to ask yourself, how are you a threat with no skills? How are you a threat with no knowledge? How are you a threat in jail? How are you a threat when the base of your knowledge is smoking weed, drinking 40s, and hanging out on street corners? The only threat you are is to your community. So why are you out here talking about being a threat to society on a whole? You're only a threat in your little microcosm of reality. You are no good to anybody. You victimize your community. You're not an asset, but you are a liability. And I tell these men, hey, you need to go out here and get some skills. There's welding, there's plumbing, there's construction, there's tech, there's medicine, there's law. If you get into those sectors, you will improve your wealth overnight. But it's going to take a little bit of dedication and sacrifice. You got to get off the corner, man. You got to stop smoking. Because I work and I smell people coming to work smelling like marijuana all the time. And I ask myself, do these people know that people can smell this on them? And they probably don't care, or they probably do. Well, sometimes if you're smelling like something, you really can't smell yourself. But these people come to work smelling like marijuana. Just the other day, it was a female that came to work in the elevator, smelling like marijuana. I'm like, does she not know that she smells like marijuana? Apparently not. And they go throughout their shift, smelling like marijuana, which should be grounds for sending you home, because I don't know if you're under the influence or not. But I mind it my business because that's what I do. I'm like, hey, it's not my business. If someone in management smells them, yeah, then I'll sit back and watch the show. But other than that, it's not my business to sit there and say, hey, you smell like marijuana. You should go home. Or maybe you should go, change clothes or something. But talking to this young man, I said, hey, build up your wealth. Then you can talk to women. And once you work hard to build up your wealth, your standards for a woman will increase. You won't get the chick with the fake hair, the lashes, the makeup, the fake body parts. You're going to want a real woman, and you're going to say, I want a woman to bear my children. Is this woman going to be a good woman for my children? Is this woman going to be a good woman in my household? Because many black men are moving in with women, which is their downfall. A woman should never have authority over you. You should never let a woman have authority over you, because women are very bad arbiters of power. They abuse it constantly. So why would you subject yourself to a person who's going to abuse authority? You should have your own vehicle. You should have your own home. You should have your own phone. You should have your own clothes and shoes. Provide those things for yourself, and also provide it for her. Because when she starts acting up, she'll say, he gave me these things. He provided that for me because he loves me. He cares for me. He cares how I look. He cares what I eat, cares about what I eat, which means he's going to feed me properly. He cares about where I live, so he puts me in a nice home. He listens to me. The man needs to be in charge because he is the manager of his reality. You can't sit around, and whenever I hear a man say, she's a strong woman, no, you're just a weak man. There's no such thing as a strong woman, because women can't protect nor defend or enforce their own rights. It takes men to defend the rights of women, because it was men that passed those those laws to give them rights. And it's men that put themselves on the line to defend those rights, not women. Women talk a big game, but women have done nothing in this society but cause problems. They're good at protesting. They can withhold sex. But other than that, that's about the limitations of their power, and which isn't really power at all, because now you got these geeks out here making artificial women. Men overcome problems. Women create problems. You have men that say, hey, you know what? I see a problem and I'm going to take care of it. Women see a problem and they'll complain about it. And that's about the extent of what they do. So when you hear a man complaining about society, well, you sound like a woman. You act like a woman, because you have black men complaining about racism. And you have to look at them and say, well, racism isn't your problem. Your inability to get off your couch is your problem. Your inability to get off the substance is your problem. Your inability to get out of the ghetto is your problem. Your inability to will yourself to do the things that are necessary to get out of the ghetto is your problem. Your inability to avoid crime is your problem. And you have these people like Roland Martin and Van Jones and Tariq Nasheed and all of these charlatan idiots that go around appeasing the ignorance of black people, especially black men, because Roland Martin's not a man. He's very effeminate. And, you know, we have people like Corey Holcomb that are out there talking about racism. These guys have money, and they're trying to tell you about racism. How can a man who's successful talk about racism? If racism existed, you wouldn't be successful. It's like Oprah. It's like you can look at Oprah and she talks about racism. You listen to the Obamas, they talk about race. Like, idiot, you were president. So how can a country be racist? Because the majority of people in this country are white. So it had to have white people to vote you into office, so they're not racist. And people are allowed to make these stupid remarks about white people, and white people take it. And it was white people who made this country, and I advocate for maintaining that white majority, because I understand if you look around the world, any place that is controlled by minorities is a S-hole country or a S-hole community. And I don't want to live in those communities. You go to any ghetto, the politicians that run it are black. And it's crap. There are no jobs. There's no upward mobility. There's no growth, but there's a lot of crime, a lot of corruption. There's a lot of victimhood. So they're bad at running anything. They said, well, we should give the country back to the natives. Well, let's go to the reservation. Poorly run, lots of drunkenness, lots of abuse, lots of crime, no growth. I'm sorry, I don't want to live in that country. They don't want to live in their own reality. So why are you trying to tell me that we should give them authority over people who are successful? The growth in this country came from white men. Not all white men, but those white men who had the ingenuity to say, hey, capitalism works. Capitalism sparks growth. Capitalism sparks evolution into civilization. Because if you pay someone for their efforts, they will go over and beyond. If you stifle innovation and you don't pay people, you get Canada. You get Africa. You get South America. All S-hole places that no one wants to migrate to. Unless you got some person in America with some money who wants to go to a cheaper place to live so they can benefit from their money. Then they get there and find out they don't have the same standard of living. Then they want to come back to America. So they're all hypocrites. All these celebrities and people, oh, I want to go to this country. Then go. Then they end up back over here. And you're like, well, hey, I thought it was better over there. Absolutely not. It is not. But as a man, you need to be the controller of your reality. You have these women out here saying they don't need a man, but if you don't need a man and you're by yourself, you're a walking disaster. And these women that are saying they don't need a man, absolutely you need a man, because if someone's breaking in your home, who do you call? Men with guns? If you have a problem with your vehicle, who do you call? A man with tools. If you need financial advice, you're usually going to call a man with the information. You need a man. You're trying to outsource this, but it doesn't benefit you because you need a man. You need your own personal man to guide you because you're a walking disaster. And feminism is the hatred of women. That should be the new definition of feminism. It should be called the hatred of women, the destruction of women, and the destruction of society. Because feminism doesn't build anything. It just destroys everything that comes in contact with it. Feminism has not helped society at all. Feminism has brought death to society, dysfunction to society. It has brought men around to pretend that they are women. You have women pretending that they are men. It is destructive. It should be banned. It should be avoided. It should be shunned to the highest levels. Any woman that doesn't want to be a mother should be shunned because you're not living your purpose. The Bible says, be fruitful and multiply. And these women are saying, I don't want any children at all. So what is your purpose? To act like a man? That's basically all you're doing. If you're not married, what is your purpose? You're supposed to be coupled. But you have to be a good woman. And if you're not a good woman, you don't deserve a man at all. You'd be like, Abdul, get the rocks. But you don't deserve a man. Because a woman is supposed to help a man. She is his helpmate, not his destruction. Submission is necessary and is warranted. And if a woman wants to disrespect a man, she doesn't deserve a man at all. Because if that man loves you, you should respect that love because you're not going to get loved by many men in this world. You're going to get used by many men, but you're not going to be loved by many men. Many men will keep you on the line to keep access to you, but they're not going to give you commitment. If a man wants to take you in and give you commitment, you better hold on to that man. To hell with your feelings, because your feelings fluctuate like the wind. And many women destroy themselves and they want to blame everyone else. But I'm the ilk that says, to hell with you. You did it to yourself. Now suffer and die. And die alone, because most women end up by themselves because they make bad decisions. And they swear while they're making these bad decisions that they're the best at making these decisions. They think they're so right, and they need to be right. They want to be right, and they do what they want, and it's all bad. So a woman needs a man. She needs a man that wants to marry her. If he doesn't want to marry you, you're basically like a rent-a-car, a used car. You're just, something that you're a rental, because he'll only use you for a while, and then he'll use you up, and then he's going to take you back. He's going to find that reason not to like you after a while and say, I got to trade you in for something better. Then they're like, oh my God, men are terrible. No, you saw the signs. You just didn't want to, heed the signs. So, but, I don't know what happened to that young man. He probably wasted his time trying to get after that older woman with the 2 kids who are basically going to be a burden on his life. And basically, she's going to basically tell him what he can't do. Men should not listen to women when they're trying to improve themselves or improve their station. You need to get your money up so you can command your reality, so you can tell that woman what you will and will not accept. But when you are on the bottom, struggling, trying to go from paycheck to paycheck, you're going to suffer, man. No man should be talking to a woman if he isn't able to take care of himself and take care of her at the same time. And many women are so impatient, they don't understand men peak later. You're messing with a 20-year-old, you're not messing with a man that's into himself. You know, once he hits past 35 to 55, that's when they're hitting their stride and men become more successful. And you should say, okay, I need to get an older man because he's going to be able to guide me because he has some world knowledge. And if he doesn't have world knowledge, you stay away from that man. If he's not knowledgeable, if he's not traveled, if he isn't a guy who has lived an eventful life, he's not going to be able to tell you something. You can find a nerd. There's lots of nerds out there who have no life experience. They look good on paper. Oh my God, he's got some money in the bank. Oh, he's got a nice car. He's got a nice little house. That guy's by himself. Why? You got to ask yourself, why is he single? Why is it other women aren't looking at him? It's just me. Because he's an oddball type of guy. And he's just a guy that nobody wanted. Now you want him, and you're going to realize you don't want him either. And you're going to say, well, that's why he was by himself. Because he has no charisma. He has nothing else going but the fact that, you know, it's like fat girls. You find a lot of fat girls that have a lot of money. Because why? Because they don't spend their money on anything. Because nobody wants them. So they have ample time to just put money away. I know lots of women that have a lot of money, but nobody wants them. Why? Because you're not attractive. So your market value is very low. Being that you're not around men, you don't know what men want, and you've been by yourself so long, you're very selfish. You aren't agreeable, and all the things that men want, fit, feminine, and cooperative, those things that you're not. So you stay single. But then women go, I don't know why my friend is so single. She is attractive. And women are the worst judges of attractiveness of other women. They think all women are 10s. They think all women deserve a man. And I'm not one that believes that. I don't think all men deserve women. And I don't think all women deserve men. Some people deserve to be by themselves. That's just reality. And the majority of men are single. And only 20% of the men are actually getting with women. And women don't understand the reality of that fact. But I'm talking about men in this instance. Men need to get their money up, need to get out and network with other men, build that social network, go out and get the respect of your peers and become a high value man. And there aren't very many high value men out there. So if you are a man who has that charisma, who has that network, who is out there getting the respect of your peers, and you're making over 100,000 up to over 150 to 200,000, and you are considered a high value man. You have value, and women are looking for those men. So you have to be very selective of who you let in your circle because they can destroy you. And marriage is a terrible deal for men if you're going through the government. You should say, you know what, we'll have a ceremony. I will respect you. You are my wife. And if she's a good woman, she's going to respect that. You don't get involved with women who are going to say, okay, let's have a ceremony, but I'm not really your wife. Well, you're a tool because you are my wife. Marriage is a concept. It's not an institution. But you say, okay, it's like a disease. No, you've caught this marriage and you're stuck with it. No, because women don't treat marriage that way. Women treat marriage as something they can jump in and jump out of at any time. Men don't leave, women do. And when a man marries a woman, he has to mentally get himself prepared to say, I love this woman. I will commit myself to her. A man commits to a marriage. A woman just says, I do. So when a woman breaks up with a man, it hurts him because he says, I chose this woman. I committed to her. I made her my priority. She is the person I said I will protect and provide and guide. So when she wants to break up, he's like, wait, 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 wait. I'm not good enough? I'm good enough for a lot of people, and I'm not good enough for you? And wait a minute, but you are beneath me. So how are you judging me to say that I'm not good enough for you? Because women, on the other hand, are hypergamous. They want to monkey branch to other men because they think that that other man is better. So they go off to the other man, and the other man says, you got a past. I'm just going to use you for recreational use. And once he uses her up, she's left out there. And she's going to think, man, I can go back. But once that man sees how you treated him, once that man sees you were out there getting used by other men, you burnt that bridge. Because he's going to say, you can't be trusted. You are absolutely loose with your body. So I no longer want you. Because you can't keep yourself. Because your virtue is all you have. And when you frivolously give it out and you're flirting with men, you lose all respect from that man that actually loves you. And many women squander love because they're always looking over the fence. And on that note, we're going to end right here, and we'll pick up again tomorrow, where we will be talking about, probably talking about marriage. But until then, this is your boy Ace Capone, and I will try to make a schedule, because I know I get people asking, hey, well, when are you on? When are you gonna, be consistently on? Can I count on a certain day of the week or anything like that? And I'm just like, okay, we'll have to work that out. And I'm thinking maybe Tuesday, Thursdays, but I'll add that to my post of the days to let the viewers know. But drop me a line, let me know what you think. Hit that like button, because when you hit the likes, the channel benefits. When you subscribe, that helps. When you spread the word to other people, it helps the channel, and it helps the algorithm. Once again, Ace Capone, peace, and I'm gone.